Hey family, how are you guys doing? I always like to wait for it to start up a little bit before I come on here. It's loud in here. But how are you guys doing? I'm here with Quan. You can kind of see
Hi.
him. Y'all can kind of see him. We're obviously driving. But y'all, it's almost Easter. It is almost Easter. And I feel, and I've said this before, holidays is something that I am kind of like, it's all like a money grab, especially here in America. A lot of this stuff is a money grab. When one holiday is over quickly, they're getting the next stuff up in the stores, and they're quick, right? It's a money grab as a way to make money, obviously. Because many times if you look at these holidays, a lot of it is not even being represented for what it is intentionally for. For instance, and I'm guilty of this, a lot of us are guilty of this. We often tend to, especially if you have little kids, I feel like it's because I have kids, honestly. It's because I have little ones. That's why
In half a mile, keep left to continue on Minnesota 77 South, Cedar Avenue.
That's why you even see me like participating in like the Easter Bunny, and with Christmas you do the Santa stuff. But personally, if I didn't have kids, I would not be participating.
Keep left to continue on Minnesota 77 South.
I would not be participating in that if it wasn't for the fact that I have children.
Continue on Minnesota 77 South for 2 miles.
But we're all kind of guilty of that. You do the Easter Bunny stuff, you do the Santa stuff because you have the little ones. But if I didn't have them, I would not be doing all of that. Although I have a lot of plans on changing things. I know views are really different when it comes to like holidays nowadays. A lot of people consider these holidays pagan holidays anyway. For me, I'm kind of at the place in my life where I'm like, I'm more so like wanting to make experiences than to celebrate a holiday and put money into something that is not even really being recognized for what is actually supposed to be recognized for anyway, right? So I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at. I'd rather spend that money on experiences. But you know what, in a sense I've kind of always been that way. But living here in America,
in half a mile, continue on to Cedar Avenue.
They push these holidays so much that if you're not careful, you end up falling for it. You end up falling for the money. Where you're putting money into these holidays. Because I'm telling you, as soon as Christmas is done, what's the next holiday after that, y'all? They're quick. You go into the stores, all the Christmas stuff is out. I'm only giving it one more month, and they're gonna have back to school stuff out. One more month, they're gonna, like, this country is all about the Benjamins, baby, for real. Okay, like I'm giving it next month, man. Forget it. Next month, all the back to school stuff are gonna be in the stores. They're gonna strip everything out. Back to school stuff, backpacks.
Continue on Cedar Avenue for 1 mile.
Forget everything. It's back to school time next month. May, we're back to school. And we're just not getting out of school. Ain't that something? Kids ain't even out of school. Next month is going to be back to school season. They're going to be putting all the back to school stuff out. But we haven't even, school hasn't even ended yet. So, but I say all that to say, you know, you got to be really careful living in this country, because they're after the Benjamin. They don't call it corporate America for nothing. Okay? We are living in corporate America. It is all about the Benjamins. So if you're not careful, you're going to fall trap to that insanity. So, but yeah, Easter is coming up, and it's coming up super fast. You know, raising children who understand the true meaning.
In a quarter mile, use the left 2 lanes
not
to turn
just-
left onto 150th Street West.
It's not just about the Easter bunny. Can I take this off? Hold on. Can I? I don't know what's gonna happen here. Okay, I've never done that before. Raising kids who are well-rounded and understand the true meaning of the holiday is not about the Easter bunny. It's not about Santa. And this is kind of why so many parents are now kind of going away from the whole holiday stuff, you know, because there's a lot, you know, and it kind of, if you think about it, it kind of takes you away from really being in the moment and just kind of living, because it's like once one holiday is out the way, boom, the next one is up. So it's like, is this never-ending cycle of corporate America? That's what I'm gonna call it. It's like it's a never-ending cycle. Like, it's just, how come I've never seen that before? No way. What? I ain't never paid attention to that before, ever. Anyway, it's this never-ending cycle of constant holidays, you know, and that can be a lot. And like I said, it kind of takes you away from really just being in the moment and just kind of living, because everything is about holidays. What's the next holiday that's coming up? What's the next this? It's overwhelming, and it's a lot to take in. So I'm 100% with the people who are like, let's just skip the holidays nonsense. We don't even really do that. But then being in America, there's all this pressure. I can't really read what you guys are saying. There's all this pressure to celebrate these holidays and to be involved in all of this. For me, again, if it wasn't for my children, I would not be celebrating, because, you know, being a Christian, following God is a hard thing, okay? It's not a holiday thing. It is not a holiday thing. You got some people who never step foot in church until it's a holiday. They never step foot in church until it's Easter, until it's Christmas. They wait around for these holidays to recognize, oh, there is a Lord and Savior. Oh, you know, I do believe in a higher power. And it's like, for me, this is a lifestyle. You know, I have a relationship with Christ. You know, my relationship is not dependent upon, oh, the next holiday that's going to recognize Jesus. It's going to recognize, you know, God or any of that. This is a lifestyle. I do this every single day. I'm praying every day. I have a relationship. I talk to God every day. It's not waiting around until the next holiday to pull up, and then I'm pulling up to church. No, I'm going to church every Sunday. You know, I'm pulling up. I have a relationship with Jesus. It's not a religion. You know, it is a relationship with the Lord. And being here in America, we see a lot of that, you know. A lot of people are not showing up to church unless it's a holiday, you know, and I don't believe in that. A lot of people don't feel like they need to go to church as long as they have, as long as they know God and they believe in Him and all of that. They're fine. They don't need to step foot in church. And it's like, no, 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 no. Read your Bible a little more. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there I am amongst them. Okay? Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there I am amongst them. No, church is vital. That one you don't take out. Okay? That one you don't take out. Now the holidays and all that jazz, please, if you must, you must, because here in this country, they're not even recognizing it for what it actually is anyways. It's about the Easter bunny. It's about the Easter eggs. It's about the meal that they're going to eat. It's about just gathering, because they don't really see their family members unless these holidays happen. Let's just be real, being here in this country and living here, from my personal experience, from what I see, a lot of these people, they don't see each other. They barely call each other. Nothing. A lot of these people don't see their family members. Years go by, especially if they live out of state. Just know it's a done deal. They ain't even seeing each other there. But they literally wait until holidays to gather to even see each other, which has been very strange for me, because growing up, we saw family members every day, all day, every day. That was just a norm. Here, they don't see each other until it's a holiday, which is crazy, Basic phone calls, they don't even make that, They wait until the holiday. So, strange. It's very strange. Very, very strange. I just don't understand it. So, and they kind of treat they treat, their faith the same way. They do this very same thing. They treat their faith the same way. They don't go to church unless it's a big, recognizable religious holiday that they feel they should maybe partake in or participate. Maybe they then feel convicted, but they don't feel convicted on a daily basis of just not showing up to church, not being present in the Lord's house, right? A lot of strange things in this country. A lot of strangeness. So, I don't know, man. Those are just like my random thoughts. But yeah, Easter is coming up. Everybody and their mother are going to be talking about it. The Easter bunny, the Easter eggs, the meal that they're going to be having. They're gathering. Many times God's not even the center of these things, but you're celebrating Easter. Where is God? Isn't that the whole reason for the holiday? Make it make sense. Y'all, it's just all a gathering. It's all just something to relax for them. It's not a God thing. It never was a God thing. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the holidays and how they're taking the true meaning out of it and making sure that we're raising children who understand the true meaning of these holidays. Is not just something that people just come and just gather just because it's, Easter or Christmas, right? Making sure that they understand, like, this is about Christ. So, anyway, y'all, we're gonna get off here. Those are just my random thoughts. I don't know. When it comes to holidays, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's just a lot of strange stuff that happens here in the States that I'm kind of like, definitely not a fan of. There's a lot in America that I'm not a fan of. I think you guys know that by now. So a lot of things that I'm not a fan of, but making sure that, the kids understand the true meaning of these holidays is not just something that we just come together, we just gather, for my family. I mean, my sister, John, could not understand. My sister and I, we talk literally every day, and he's always said, my family is not like that. I'm like, you ain't gotta tell me twice. I've seen it. But like you just see just how weird it is. I love what someone said, and I think there was I don't know where I saw this. I saw this somewhere, but this woman was saying how my children are not. What was the term? How did she? I'm trying to find the exact terminology that she used. She said, children are not just for holidays. right? Because a lot of people, they don't even see their grandkids. They don't see their family members until the holidays, and that's what I'm talking about. They don't gather until it's a holiday or something going on. Just basic phone calls, just basic, just to see your family, because that's your family. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone. They don't do that, y'all. They don't do that. They wait until it's a holiday to see their loved ones. Make it make sense. Um, But I love how a lot of Americans are calling this stuff out. A lot of Americans are speaking about this, especially the millennials. A lot of them are speaking on this, um, and they're not for it. And that's why I feel like my generation, they're working so hard to do things different for their kids. And I applaud every single American who is acknowledging, like, hold up, like the way that I was being raised, my family dynamic, like the way things were, I don't want that for my kids. So shout out to all the people who realize, like, just toxic cycles and trying to break those toxic cycles out of their next generation. They're like, I don't want nothing to do with that. That was weird. Why were we living that way? Like, why are people waiting until the holidays to see each other? No, like, family is an everyday thing, right? God give us family to be there for each other, to support each other, not just when something bad is happening. Here are the principles that I live by, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys this right now. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Please listen up. If you don't ever listen to anything that I have to say, listen to this, okay? Watch the people who are there for you when you are falling. Like when you have stuff going on in your life and you're feeling big time and bad things are happening to you, your life may not be going the way that you hope it will go, and people start coming around. Watch out for those people. Many times people think, oh, it's a great thing. They're there for me when I have my shortcomings. They're there for me when things aren't quite going right. No, honey, you need to watch out for those people, because why is it that those people are only coming around when bad things are going on in your life? Where are they when your life is going great? Where are they in your happiness when good things are going for you, when life is going right, everything's going smooth in your happiness? Where are those people? If those people are not there for you during both seasons of your life, and they're only there when bad things are going on, honey, you need to think twice. You need to check and see if these people are actually for you. Because why are people only coming around when bad things are happening in your life? Where are these people when everything is going great? Why are they only now showing up when bad things are happening? Where are these people when you are happy, when life is great, when everything is good? Where are they? Watch out for those people, because oftentimes as a society, people are like, they're always there for me when things are going bad, when things aren't going great. I know I can count on them when I need help or something's happening. But could you count on them when you were happy? Just as important it is to have people in your life when life is hard, it's also important when you have people clapping for you too when things are great, because you want to have people in your life who are there to celebrate your wins, right? Not just people who are there with you when celebrating your lows. Really, that's what you got to call that. You got to call it what it is. They're celebrating your lows, but where are they doing your highs? Why are they not happy for you when you are happy? Why are they waiting for you to go down, for things to be happening, for you to be down, for them to show up? Please watch out for those people. You said, I'm trying to raise my kids in love and now to be gracious and thankful to God. Yes, I try so hard to model these behaviors for them. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So you really, really have to be careful. It's just oftentimes I see it. People are like, they're really there for me when I'm going through bad times. I know I can count on this person when things are going bad for me. And oftentimes I just roll my eyes. Yeah, okay. Where were they when you were happy? Where were they when things were going good in your life? In your highest moments, in the most important moments of your life, where were they? Why were they not there during those most important moments that really matter to you? Where were they? You over here talking about they're there for me when things are going bad. Yeah, because misery loves company. Yes, honey, because they're miserable. So now, of course, they're going to show up, because you mean to tell me this and that is going on in your life? Oh, bet. Honey, this been going on in my life. I ain't been happy. So I'm happy that, your things aren't going right for you. Now I'm going to show up for you because now I feel good. Now I don't feel so alone. Honey, they're waiting. They're waiting for things to be going bad in your life, for them to show up for you. Because if they ain't showing up during your happy moments, why are they showing up during your low moments? But as a society, people don't think that way. People think the people who care about them the most are the people who are showing up when they're going through the most. Honey, you better check that again. I couldn't disagree more. And they're used to the toxic way of life. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. No, when it comes to the holidays, y'all, there's just a lot of things that I want to do differently. A lot. I want to do things so differently. I do not agree with the American way of celebrating holidays. And do not get me wrong, not every American is this way. Absolutely not. 100% not. Not every American is this way, okay? It's just in my personal experience. I'm only speaking off of my personal experience. I always try to let you guys know that whenever I'm talking on subjects like this, just know that it's my personal experience. Not every American is this way, because I've seen Americans from all different shapes and walks of life. Everybody is different. Not everybody have the same thought process. Everybody was raised differently. Everybody look at life in a different way from different perspectives, right? I always say it's all in how people were raised. It's all in how people was raised. Now where you're from, none of that. It's all in how you were raised. It all boils down to how you were raised, and that's just what we're seeing. So, yeah, but I don't know. When it comes to the holidays, definitely want to do things differently. I see a lot of Americans doing things differently, and I respect those people so much. I respect anybody, first of all. I respect anyone who see that they come from a toxic family and they work really hard to break those cycles for their children, for the next generation. I do not respect people who see the cycle, people who see toxic, and they are so, because they're so familiar with it, they're refusing to even acknowledge that it's there, and they're not wanting to do anything about it. So I have so much respect for people who are like, hey, hold up now. This is what I saw growing up. This is not how I want my family to be. These are not the values that I want to instill in my kids, in the next generation to come. I want to change it. I want to do better. I want to be better. I respect those people so, so much. You know, there's this guy on Instagram. Good Friday off. Yep. They don't even realize or recognize Holy Thursday, right? They don't recognize any of this stuff. But there's this guy on Instagram, a Caucasian man, and he said growing up, he grew up in the most racist family. Okay? He said his family was racist. Anything that you could think of, they mocked people of color, foreigners, you name it. They looked down on people who didn't look like them, primarily because of their skin color. Not because they even really had much going on in their life. He grew up in a small town. They didn't really have anything going on. There was no reason for them to even really, at the end of the day, be looking down on anybody. But it was primarily because of the skin color that made them believe that they were better than other people. They didn't have the credentials, nothing. Even though I still believe it doesn't matter where you are in life, what ladder you are up at, no matter what kind of credentials you have, what kind of degrees, you still should not be looking down on anyone. But he was saying the family he grew up in literally had nothing, nothing. But they were looking down on people because of their skin color, mocked people because of their skin color. And he said for the longest he was that way because he was raised that way. That was what he was raised in, right? And he said, oh, the light went off. He said, sorry, y'all. Maybe y'all just end up just hearing my voice. Y'all couldn't really see me well anyway. But I really don't want to start this off. He said that growing up, I want y'all to see me just a little bit. A little bit of this. A little bit of that. Hold on, y'all. Not you all out cold in here. Sorry, y'all. Excuse me. Hold on. Not you all out cold in here. I cannot deal. Um, but anyway, he was saying that, for the longest, open and close the door. Oh, absolutely. I am 100% black and I'm definitely proud. Um, okay, so the light's back on. But he was saying that for the longest time, because he grew up in such a racist family and that's how they looked at people who didn't look like them, he was that way because that's all he knew. You know what you know, right? It wasn't until he got older. I think he said it was in high school. I don't remember exactly, but it was in high school, and I think a black person came through for him or something. Something happened. I don't remember the exact situation, but something happened where he started to see black people differently. Like everything that his parents told him about people of color, about foreigners, was not true. Until he went out there and actually got to know people of color and foreigners for himself on a personal level, he saw everything that they were instilling in him. All the hatred was all exactly that, hatred. Until he got to know people of color and foreigners and people who did not look like him and what he was raised in, he saw life differently. Um, and people like that, I say they have a lot of resentment towards their parents for that, for creating so much hatred inside of them, making them to hate other people because of their skin color. Um, it's not until people go out here and they start learning other people, learning other people ways of life and realizing, wait, there's more to this life beyond my household, beyond what my parents said. These people are great. you know um he even said, in his adult life, he got more people of color helping him than he ever did with people of the Caucasian race. He had more people of color, foreigners, helping him, who are more there for him than he ever did with people who comes from the same background, as you would say. Let's just say the skin tone. Okay. So more of the story is, this is why it's so important. Go out there, experience life. This is why it's important that we have these conversations, because not every child, unfortunately, is being raised the right way. You got parents out here who are literally instilling nothing but hatred in their children and trying to force their kids to see life as black and white. Um, and don't even get me started on the whole I don't see color thing. If I could tell y'all how many times I heard that. I don't see color. No, they see color. It's just a way to just avoid the whole racism topic. We all see color. Okay? We all do. Is there, unless you're telling me you're blind. But at the end of the day, we all see color. We all see people for who they are. Um, is something that's there. There is something that you can't say it, you don't see it unless you're blinded to it. You're blind, right? And we're not. Unless you're blind, you cannot tell me that you don't see color. They do. It's just a way to demonetize, to just go away from the whole topic of racism, because they know it's there. But if we can just say that we don't see color, that'll maybe just shut the whole topic down of racism, of hatred, of what they're saying that we are portraying or what we have inside of us. Um, Open-minded and fair thinking is hard to find. I love all people. Don't appreciate. I don't specialize. I am happy. I'm not that way. Amen. And I am happy for you, because being open-minded, the people that you will meet, like when people are closed-minded, y'all, they don't even realize that they're being detrimental to themselves, because you're missing out on so many different experiences. You're missing out on amazing good people. The things that could come your way, the opportunities of life that could come your way just from being open-minded, it's endless. The possibilities. But when you're closed-minded, you're closing yourself up to so much in life because of hatred. They don't even realize that they're causing so much detriment to themselves because of their way of thinking. Um, they treated my son so bad in one school. I had to take him out. It's sad. People are like this. Speaking of schools, and I was on the topic of church. And I have planned to make a whole separate video about this, and I will. I'm not going to talk about it in this live. Let's just say, long story short, an incident, you guys, of all places, this incident happened at church. At church. Ooh, child. Man, the experiences and the stuff I got to share, y'all. But you know what? It's all educational, and people need to hear this. People need to see this. We need more advocates. We need more people advocating for this stuff. And yeah, I mean, things are really real out here. So I'm so sorry to your son, but you know, racism is one thing, and then you also have just the aspect of just plain old bullying. But there's a whole situation right now circulating all over the internet. There's something that just recently happened, and I'm not going to talk about it because for me, I am a just person. I like to make sure I have all the facts to things. That's what happens when you have a pure heart. You're not just going off of skin tone, right? Oh, because I'm black, so I'm going to side with this. And, oh, because I'm white, I'm going to side with this. No, I'm waiting for the facts to come out. I'm waiting for all of the facts to come out before I actually speak on this topic. There's a lot that I want to say about this, but we're going to wait until all the facts and everything come out to speak on this particular topic. But it's sad. Let's just say that it's sad on both ends. And it didn't have to come to that. Long story short, it did not have to come to that. But yeah, y'all. Yeah. Yep, the facts before I say anything, make any judgments. I am a just person, Now, these are the type of people that you would say don't see color when you say it in that way. But when they're saying it, it's more so just, let's just take away from the fact that you're even speaking on racism right now. Oh, you're acknowledging the fact that I am a closet racist or I'm an open racist? Oh, well, I don't see skin color. I just like people for who they are. Come again? Not from what you just said. Not from what you did. Make it make sense. They'll be quick to throw that out there. Well, I don't see skin color. Oh, and Dr. King. They love to quote Dr. King. Well, they should try to be more like Dr. King. We judge a person by the content of their character. And what's your character like? You're talking about Dr. King, but you have the worst character that there is. How are you going to say that you only judge people based off the content of their character, but you are a terrible person? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like you're literally filled with so much hatred, and you got the nerve to be trying to quote him and make it seem as if you're Tim King. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's just a tactic that they use. You got to be well-rounded. I've been dealing with this for so many years. A lot of people are not as rounded as I am because I've paid attention to these people's behavior. I've seen them for what they are. I've been in spaces with these kind of people. Listen, no one can tell me nothing because experience beats anything. And I've seen it firsthand. And then, you have a lot of other people who are like, yeah, bet, who are not your skin tone, who would literally acknowledge, like, no, you are 100% correct. I'm like, you ain't got to tell me twice because I saw it. I saw it. They'll claim they're not one way, but then the things that they're saying and they're doing literally, it literally takes away from anything that they're saying right now. Oh, I don't see skin tone. Oh, we judge a person by the content of the character. Wait, what? You have one of the most worst characters I've ever seen in my entire life. Please make it make sense. Please make it make sense. No, you're just trying to take away from the fact that I see you for who you are, and you're just trying to throw some stuff out there to take away from what I am seeing about you. And like someone said before, like, if you're going to be a racist, like, be loud with it. If that's who you are, right? Accept who you are. If this is who you want to be, and this is what you've deemed your whole life to be until you leave this planet Earth, and you want to be this terrible, horrible person who sees the worst out of people and just see everyone as just skin tone, and if you're this skin color, you're this way. If that's how you want to live your life, right? If that is who you are, be loud about it. Because listen, we need to know who you are. Because we need to stay far away from you. Many times they look at people of color and say they're the aggressor, they're this, they're that. But if that's the tune that we're trying to use, and this is how we want to look at people, I'm afraid of you too. And like, tell me who you are so I can, I'm scared. Like, if this is your mentality, if this is how you go about life, if this is how you see people that don't look like you, talk like you, I'm afraid of you as well. So please, can you like be loud with your racism so I know how to be around you? Because I'm scared of you. Please do not be no closet. Don't be no closet racist. Be an open racist. So I know how to walk around you. I know how to be around you. I know if I don't even want to be around you, period. Okay? Like the fakeness, y'all. Oh my gosh. I need to do like actual. Anyway. They don't like to be called out. Of course, they don't like it. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if you call them out now, they got a problem with you. So, I'm thinking like the whole time you should probably have a problem with yourself because you're the one that's carrying around all of this. And you notice one thing I've noticed about these sort of people, racist people, they are so unhappy. Looking back and just thinking about everything and how these people are, they're not happy people. And it makes sense because they're carrying around so much hatred. They are so unhappy with their life. Oh my gosh, they're the most unhappiest people under the sun. They're not happy. They complain about everything. Oh, it's a beautiful day. What's so beautiful about the day? They will complain about everything as if they're the only ones that know struggles. And many times their struggles ain't even on the level of what struggle really is. They don't even actually understand what struggle is. But you see, some Americans, are just spoiled, man. They're just spoiled because they've never known struggle. They don't know what it's like to actually struggle. They don't. So these people are very spoiled. They're brats. Like they like to call other people, try to call people kids brats and stuff. No, you are the true brat. Um, well, why do they call people brats anyways? Where'd that terminology come from? Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but I never understood that. They call people brats and stuff, but they're the biggest brats, y'all, because they truly don't know struggle. They complain about every single thing under the sun. Everything. It don't matter what it is. They'll find something to complain about. And who want that kind of energy around them all day, every day, 24/7 around the clock? No. Like, please, ew, disgusting behavior. Nasty. I don't want that around me. Bad energy. Ugh. Goodbye. See you later. Like, no. I don't want it. You can keep it. Keep your negative energy. It's too much. Yeah, that's why they have have so much difficulty sleeping, because they have too much hate in their hearts, in their system. Yep. Absolutely, in their heart, in their system, they have way too much hate, way too much. And I'm going to tell you, they're the least happiest people. They're not happy. They're not happy. They really are not happy. And you have to really be careful and not let these kind of negative energy drag you down. You just look at their lifestyle, and you look at the type of people that they are. It will tell you everything that you need to know, you know. And don't let it sweat you. Don't be sweated by these people and their behaviors. That is an issue within. That's something that's deeply rooted, and they need help. People like that, they truly need help, you know. And I really try to empathize with these people, but they just, man, sometimes it's hard. Let's just say that as a Christian, sometimes it's hard. It's hard. People think that when you're a Christian, it's just this smooth ride and everything is perfect. No, it's because I know I'm not perfect. That's why I'm going to God. Because I know I'm not perfect. I know I need His grace, okay? I am far from perfect. I need the Lord's grace upon me. So it's hard when you're dealing with these set individuals because they lack empathy. They don't care for others. They don't. They lack empathy. Oh my gosh, I've never met such heartless people. They lack empathy. They don't care. They don't care about others. It's just all about them, and that's it. It's about them, and that's it. But anyway, y'all, I've been on here for almost 40 minutes. But yeah, when it comes to the holidays, I don't know, y'all. I do it for the kids, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all of this. The true meaning of Easter, Christmas is all being taken out for money. You know, what does it profit the man to gain the world but lose his soul? That's America to a T. Man, that's actually that actually really describes this country. What does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul, boy? I tell you. Let me tell you. That if that doesn't describe this country, dang, that was deep. The stuff that God just be putting like, yo, okay, that's not even me talking. I don't even know where that came from. But that's America to a T, y'all. Let me tell you. This country, I don't know, man. America, I always use the word interesting to like to say the least. It's interesting out here. Um, and like I always say, trust me, it's not every American. I know that for a fact. Um, right. Gotta be grateful. Yes. Gratitude. Gratitude is everything. Life is hard. No one said that it was gonna be easy, man. It's hard. But imagine being around people who are negative in their way of thinking. They're just so negative. They make it worse. Because it's like, listen, life is hard. But like you're such a negative Nancy. Like, please get away from me because you're making it harder. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, chill. We know we get it. It's not the greatest. But your way of thinking is so negative. Like you're making the situation worse with the way you think. You complain about everything. You make things bigger than what it actually needs to be. You're making it worse. So it's like I can't be around these kind of people. Like, what's wrong with you? Um, yeah, I definitely will. And they know. They know. But it's just making sure that we're being careful with the way that we're celebrating these holidays because I feel like sometimes, it can send off different messages, especially in young minds. So, you're doing the Easter bunny, right? You're doing the whole Easter bunny thing. Well, Easter is about Jesus. Why are we doing Easter bunny, right? You got Santa. If Easter is about Christ, what is up with this guy in the red suit? You know what I mean? So you can be sending like missed signals, even though you want your kids to participate in like this thing that you feel like is so innocent, but is it really? Right? And you look at the history of some of these holidays too, you know, you ain't gonna want nothing to do with it. And you see it based off the way they celebrate it in this country. So I don't know. I don't know, you guys. It's all cute and fun. Hey, the bunny, get a picture with the Easter bunny. It's all cute. But realistically speaking, I raised my kids with the idea of they're not going to be kids forever. It's all fun and games when they're kids. But one day these kids are going to be adults that I'm sending out there into the world. So for me, these things are very important. So when I'm raising my children, I'm not necessarily looking at the idea of them being small forever. I actually do not, because I know I'm raising kids who are one day going to grow up and be on their own. I want to make sure that I have well-rounded kids who, believe in Jesus, love Jesus, who have a relationship. That's the most important thing, have a relationship with Christ, not just know him, know of him. We go to church, okay. But do you talk to God? Do you have a personal relationship with Jesus? That's the most important thing, right? Making sure that they understand that aspect. And like I also have different feelings too, with like raising boys and raising girls. It's two complete different things. And those are just those are just my those are just my own personal thoughts, when it comes to raising girls and boys. The way that they do it here, some people, excuse me, not every person. I always have to just fix it. I always got to justify this. I always got to fix my wording because not every American is that way, you guys, okay? I'm being for real. No Easter bunnies around here. The sacrifice Jesus made is too great. Absolutely. So, that's kind of like the place I'm at. A lot of you guys are really mature in your faith when it comes to that. And not saying that I'm not mature, but when it comes to I have a hard time letting go of that Easter bunny thing. obviously I know that Jesus is the center of it all, but wanting, that innocence for the kids to have fun with it. And that's why I say, if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't even care. You wouldn't Easter bunny who, bunny what, bunny where? No, like there's no, Easter is for Christ, not no bunny. But when you have little children, they think those things are cute. And that's what I'm saying, is it can also sometimes send out missed signals, mixed messages, because these kids are they're going to grow up, you know. You have people who are Christians and they never read the Bible at home with their kids. What? They don't. I think a lot of Christians, they just expect if we go to church, that's good. Um, I don't even know what they do besides going to church. What do? They go to church and they attend the holidays regarding Easter and Christmas, right? But outside of church, there's nothing outside of church. There's no reading the Bible. There's no praying. There's nothing. I think not even I think up till I met my husband, I never saw him pray over his meal when he ate. Like what? That's one of the biggest part of your faith. What do you mean you're eating and you ain't praying? What are you doing? So up until I met him, like he didn't eat and pray. That was not a norm for him. You know, now honey, we eating and we praying and we eating. We don't just eat, so that was different for him. And I'm like, and you mean to tell me you grew up as some okay. I don't know, okay? I don't understand it. But one thing that someone told me, okay? And I keep this in my mind every time when I say, "Oh, I don't understand this," because I really don't. They said some things are meant to not understand, because if you could understand it, you can reason with it, and if you can reason with it, you can do it. I'm like, "Girl, okay." Say that one more time. Okay? Some things are not meant to understand. Because if you can understand it, then you're going to be trying to reason with it. And if you can reason with it, you're most likely going to start thinking in that same way and start doing the same things. And we don't want that. So some things I'm just like, listen, I don't understand it. It is what it is. I wash my hands clear of that. Y'all do y'all, man. If that's how y'all live, okay. I don't get it, and I ain't trying to get it neither. So I'm just kind of at that point, like, whatever, if that's how you live. But around here, we pray before we eat. Around here, we go to church. Around here, we pray to God just because. Nothing has to be going on. We pray because we have a relationship with Jesus, right? We pray because we depend on him for our every single need, our day in and our day out, okay? We pray because it's a way of life. We read our Bible because it's a way of life. It's part of having a relationship with Christ. It's not just something that we do on Sunday mornings, on Easter, on Christmas. But unfortunately, for a lot of people here, that's their reality. And you guys, a few years ago when we were in church, I think about 2 years ago, they brought out they brought out this chart of the percentage of kids in America who are not going to church compared to the ones who are going to church. And let's just say it is very low. It is very, very low. And that's why you see people grow up. You have a lot of these people that grow up, and then they don't really have a relationship with Christ, because they it wasn't being practiced, right? There was no relationship. They never actually had a relationship with Christ. It was just going to church, because that's just what my parents did. We go to church and we come home, and that's it. That's where it stops. It all stops there. There's no reading your Bible. There's literally no relationship with Christ. We know that there is a God, but do we actually really believe? And oftentimes, with the way that people live their lives, you can literally see, no, there's no belief there. They don't actually have a belief. Um, it's just something that they know of because they were told, because they were brought to church. But when they get older, their relationship is not there. They never had a relationship with Jesus. They never had a relationship. They don't know who he actually is, and based off of the parenting. And that's why people are so quick, oftentimes, you know, when I see a lot of behaviors displayed in people, I'm like, it's the parenting. And then you have some people who will argue with me and say, no, they're adults. Yes, I get it. Once you become an adult, even it says it in the Bible, I get it. At the end of the day, once a person become a grown adult, they know what they're doing. But I also truly believe too, a lot of the way that people are is based off of how they were parented, how the parents did things. Um, I don't know, y'all. I felt the parents. So sorry, I think I kind of cut off there. I think I kind of cut off there, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of strange stuff here. A lot. There's a lot. And I'm going to keep reiterating this. It is not every single American. I have learned a lot from a lot of Americans, from a lot of my peers, right? Who do not have the same skin tone. A lot of them think, well, you're only speaking off of the basis of your skin tone. No, it's like, no, I actually have Caucasian friends who don't think like you. So I always just want to make that clear. It's not everybody that have that way of thinking. There's a lot of people who unfortunately grew up in these toxic homes, and they're like, I don't want nothing to do with that. They make it like their life's mission in a way to be better than what they saw growing up. Like, it ran in the family, but it all stopped when it came to me. Like, I stopped that nonsense. Um, so not everybody is that way, you know. And I applaud those who unfortunately grew up in toxic situations, in toxic homes, in racist homes, racist parents, racist family members, you name it. Because sometimes it's not the parents, sometimes it's just all other relatives too who could be that way. Um, I applaud anybody who, even if it's not just racism, who grew up in toxic and they choose to do better with their life. They choose to break that cycle of toxic. I applaud you because it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do because if this is something that you've been used to your entire life, if this is how you grew up, this is what you saw your entire life growing up, and it's a norm for you. It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of acknowledgement to look at the cycle and say, hold up now, wait, why was this normal? Why did I ever think this was normal? Why did they think that was normal? But then, you know what? It ain't about them. It's about me. Okay, I'm an adult, and I'm choosing not to be that way. If that's how they chose to live their lives until they meet the Lord, listen, that's how they chose to live their life. But as for me, I choose a different route. So I respect people who do better. If you know better, you do better. Like the saying goes, if you know better, you do better. Um, and then, these people are raising well-rounded kids. The kids are out here, they love diversity. They acknowledge everybody. They respect everyone. And I respect people like that. Of course, what is there not to respect? You know, it's not people's fault that they come from the families that they come from, but people do have a choice when they become adults on how they want their story to unfold. It then becomes your responsibility. How you were raised is not your fault. You don't get a say so in the family that you grew up in, unfortunately, but you do get a say so in the type of person you're going to be, in the type of adult you're going to be, in the way you're going to raise the next generation. It all falls down on you, because at the end of the day, the way that I grew up and what I know to be truth, um, your parents, they raise you, and how they raise you, whether good or bad, that's between them and God. Because God depends on parents to raise their kids well. You are their guardian. Whether you're raising them well or not, those kids are one day going to have to be out there in the real world, and their interactions with other people. It all is dependent upon you and how you raise them, right? Being a parent is a big title, and I feel like a lot of people don't take much serious. They don't look at it as something serious, and it is. Shout out to those who do, like me. Um, Raising kids is a very, very big job. It's a very big job. Is the hardest job you will ever do in your entire life. It's a lot of pressure, because you want to make sure that you're going to put kids out there who are going to be well-rounded, who are going to be respectful. For me personally, I'm raising boys. I want my boys to be providers. No way are my boys going to be dependent on a female. you know um what I believe in, I believe that the man is supposed to be the provider. Even if the wife has a job, I still believe that the husband is still the provider because that's what the Bible tells us. Even if she has a job, that man as a provider, it still doesn't take away from that, you know. But what we see in this generation, because of the feminist act, you know, you got a lot of people who their wives are working out and they're solely dependent on her income. You have a lot of stay-at-home dads. Like a lot of odd stuff is happening, and it's like that's not how God intended it to be. And when God doesn't intend something to be a certain way, things don't work out the way that they're supposed to be because you're going against God's ways. You're trying to do things your own way, you know. That's why, you know, when mothers left the home, you got a lot of things started to get messed up. You got kids who are fornicating in the homes. Don't get me started on that talk. Okay, let me stop. Let me stop. Anyway, just know that I have my beliefs that I have it for a reason. And those who know, they know. If you know, you know. Um, but when mothers left the home, nothing good came out of that picture. It hasn't been a good picture. So I believe in the Bible. I believe in God's ways are perfect. God doesn't make any mistakes. And when we go against his ways of doing things, that's when we see problems starts to happen because we're not doing it the way that God intended it to be. Okay, you're going to see a lot of issues, you know. Even those who come from two-parent households, oftentimes, oh man, do I want to get into this topic? This is going to be a whole nother topic for a different video because this particular thing that I was about to say really bothers me. Like, I don't like when people say this. Like, it bothers me to the core, and I'm like, how? Like, I can show you solid proof that this is not true. Like, what you're saying is literally based off of your opinion. This is not true. This is not how everybody's lives are. Based off my experience and what I have seen, you're false. What you're saying is completely false. It's simply not the truth, you know. But I'm gonna talk about that in a whole different video. We're gonna get down to it because I'm tired of hearing people saying this. It's just not true, and I have proof to 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 show this, to say this is not true based off my experience and what I have seen. What you're saying is not factual. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Do you want to see proof? Do you want me to show you the proof right now? Because I will show you the proof right now. Um, it is being consistent as a parent. Absolutely, consistency is important. It takes a lot. So most people give up. You know what? That is true. I can see that. I brought up my kids to the altar and presented them. He said to bring them. Yep, he's all the little children belongs to him. That's what the word of God says. All these little ones, they belong to him. Absolutely. And we give them back to the Father. But no, a lot of people know I 100% agree. They don't want to be consistent. From what I've seen based on my experience, I'm only going to speak from my experience. I'm going to speak in that term because it is only just my personal experience. Not everybody is this way. Based off my experience and what I have seen, a lot of people are self-centered. A lot of people are self-centered. It's about me, and living my life how I want to live it. They don't pour into their kids. Okay? From what I have seen, what I have witnessed, my personal experience firsthand, they don't pour into their children. They don't really care. They don't really care. It is what it is. They, like I said, there's no really seriousness to raising their children. They don't look at their kids like, oh, one day, you know, these kids are going to be adults. They're going to go out there. The way that I raised them is all on my hands. How they turn out, the type of individuals they're going to be, the way they're going to treat people, the way they talk about people, the way they treat their spouse, their interactions with others outside of this home is all dependent upon me and how I raised them. They don't really see the seriousness in that. It's just, oh, okay, I have kids. Okay. We do the sports. A lot of them, they love the sports. We do the sports. They feel like that's like, I don't know what they think that is. They do the sports. We make sure y'all are fed. Y'all got money. You got the money. You're good. But being an actual parent, they're not doing that. They're not pouring into their kids the way God has called them to. We make sure y'all got food on the table. You got clothes on your back. I mean, you got a roof over your head, don't you? You go to school, don't you? You in the sports, you in the activities. That's about it. That's all I see. That's all I have seen. but to actually pour into these children to make sure that they grow up to be good, well-rounded adults, be good human beings in society, be independent individuals. Um, nah, man. From my experience, they're not doing that, man. They're not, and it's sad. It's sad. Um, as a parent, you have to be prepared. Mm-hmm. You have to repeat. You have to repeat yourself and parent with. Listen, it's all about intentionality. You have to be intentional. Like you literally, how are you gonna parent and not be intentional? You have to be intentional. And when I say how you're gonna parent and not be intentional, what I mean is, if you want kids who are gonna be out there and well-rounded, independent individuals, kids who are going to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, who are not going to be adults and still need you, you got to be intentional. You know you messed up as a parent if your children still need you as an adult. Like there was a quote that said, you did a great job if your kids don't need you when they're adults. If your kids still need you, they're still having to rely on you for finances, whatever. Advice is one thing. I will always give my kids advice. But if my kids are still having to come to me for money and they're still having to come to me for basic necessity in life, things that they should already have established based off of my parenting, I failed. If they don't have, I failed as a parent. I failed as a parent. You know, if they cannot stand on their own 2 feet, I failed. There's no ifs and buts about it, because what? What do you mean? You're not able to stand on your own 2 feet. You know, it's one thing when you're raising kids and you're providing for them because they are children. They depend on you for all of their needs. But if you're an adult and you still, what? Then I failed. I'm sorry. I failed. I failed as a parent. If my children still need me as adults, I messed up. I messed up somewhere, because, but you know, a lot of people are not willing to have those conversations. They're not willing to look deep within themselves and acknowledge where they went wrong. People point fingers 24/7 at other people, and they look at other people as being the problem. That's the one of the biggest issues here in America. You know, whether if it's them blaming other countries, blaming other people, blaming their neighbors, blaming the church members. I don't go to church because so and so happened in the church. Wait, so you mean to tell me this whole time you were only going to church based off of people and not God? So you were only going to church based off of people, your interactions with how people treat you or how you treat others. It was never based upon your relationship with God. You only went to church because of other people. What? Listen, just because people are going to church don't mean that they're perfect. But you cannot let that stop you from going to church and having a relationship with Jesus. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Your relationship with Jesus should not matter. It should not be dependent upon other people. Going to church should not be dependent upon other people. Because if that's the case, you're going to be switching church your entire life. You're going to be switching again, like a lot of them do. They just don't show up to church, period. Oh, I went to church and this happened in the church, so therefore, I don't go to church. Oh, no church is perfect. No pastor is perfect. No one is perfect. We're in church because we know we need his grace. We know that we're not perfect beings. We know that we live in a fallen world. So why are we going to church based off of this idea that everyone's going to be perfect? Everything's going to be great. And if anyone look at me the wrong way, well, I ain't going back to that church. If anyone say the wrong thing to me, I ain't going back to that church. If something happens in the church, well, I ain't going back to that church. Well, no church is perfect. No pastor is perfect. No person is perfect. So what are you going to do? So what was it? What was it about? Was it really about God? Was it a God thing for you? What were you going to church for then? Yeah, very. Oh yeah, I have a lot of wisdom. A lot of it, I say God just be talking through me. Once I start going, he's like, I need this out there. I typically don't do this on my channel. On this channel, I do it on my other channel. But when God is within you, you can't stop talking about him. It don't matter where you go. It don't matter what channel you on. The grace of God, like you love God so much. Like people love something, like let's say someone takes pride in their car.
You
Okay,
still find it?
they take pride in their car, so they talk about their car a lot. Well, I take pride in my God, because my God don't came through for me time and time again. Let me tell you, like, I can't stop talking about God. I don't care if this page is not, to really talk about God, is not a religious page. No, like, I'm a religious person. I have a relationship with Christ, so it just radiates. I can't stop talking about him. Doesn't matter where I go. I can have a designated area where I just want that to be about everything Jesus. But no matter where I go, man, he comes with me because he's within. All right. God is within her, okay? She will not fail. You hear me? He comes with me everywhere. So like I said, I don't talk about God on this channel as much because I have a designated page or a designated channel that I do that on. But I still talk about him everywhere, y'all. Don't matter where I go because he's a big part of who I am. He is my entire being. So, but no, I will be diving a lot into these topics. America is interesting. Like I said, to just put it in the least way possible without really not saying too much. It's interesting in this country. And like I always try to say too, it's not the country, because a country can be just a country, but it's the people. So people here are interesting. People here are very interesting. And I'm so glad that so many people who were born here, because let me tell you, I cannot, I'll be lying if I say I like using the term American, because what is an American? I am an American. Okay? If you're a citizen, you're an American. If you were born here, maybe your parents were born in a different country, whatever, you're an American. An American is anyone. Anybody can be an American. If you get your citizenship, you can deem yourself as being an American. Now, I am now an American citizen. I am an American, okay? So you got Liberian Americans, you got Nigerian Americans, you got Asian Americans. Anybody can be an American. So what is an American exactly? So I don't like to use that terminology. I like to call people for who they are. you know, most Americans are Europeans. You're a European American. That's what I call you, Europeans. So I go off of people's DNA, your ancestry, and where you originally from. Where you came from. So for me, I'm an African American. So an American can really be anybody. So I don't really like to use that terminology very often and say, oh, is the American way, is the American that? Because what is that exactly? Because I personally don't know what is an American. And I don't care because somebody was born here. You have so many people who feel like because they were born here, they have this, what's the word? What's the word that I'm looking for? They believe they own America, to put it in the least way. They believe they own America simply because they were born in America. This country belongs to them and them only. Nobody else can come here. And it's like, oh, because you were born in a country, you own it? Dang. I didn't know that. Where'd they do that at? Entitled. They're entitled. Let me tell you, like, what? Just because you were born? Like, for instance, I was born in Africa. I don't believe I own the entire continent. I don't believe I own Africa. What? I'm a proud African. I'm proud to be from Africa, but I don't own Africa. That's kind of weird. I also find it weird when people worship the flag. That's weird. Can we worship God? I'll have more respect for you if you worship God. You see everybody with their American flags on their homes, and okay, I'm glad you got your American flag, but can you put up a Jesus flag too? You say you love God, right? You say you know God. Listen, I would love to see a Jesus flag, okay? Anything that says I love Jesus. Put up your flag. Be a proud Christian. You're a proud, what do you call it? A proud flag person? I don't know. I don't say that that's being a proud American. For me personally, these are just my personal thoughts, okay? Because the reason why I feel that way, I feel like a lot of this flag pride is embedded in a lot of hatred. They hide behind the American flag to say that they're patriotic, right? They love America so much, but they do they do the most un-American things possible. So no, when it comes to this whole American flag thing, I find it to be really strange because why are we worshiping a flag? Let's worship God. You will never see me worship the Liberian flag. No, I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? That's weird. I mean, okay, that's where I'm from. Okay, the flag is cool. Okay, okay. I'm not going to worship a flag. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? You got people out here literally worshiping the flag. If you say anything about the flag, they're ready to go at you. But you don't see them fighting for God like that. You got a lot of people saying some off the wall stuff about the Christian faith, but you don't see them fighting for their faith like that. They could care less. Oh, okay, well, you know. And they wonder why so many other religions don't have respect for the Christian faith, for the Catholic faith. You name it. You know, if you look around you as a society, people have more respect for other religions than they do the Christian faith. Look around. Don't take my word on it. Observe. People have more respect for other faith than they do the Christian faith because look at how Christians carry themselves. You can't even what is it? You can't even tell your brother of faith, your brother in Christ, that they're doing something wrong and that they're living in the wrong way. And quickly they start to tell you you're judging them. Only God can judge me. You should be scared. Talking about only God can judge you. You should be scared that only God can judge you. That's not a good thing to be bragging about. I don't get that. But you see other religions, if they call each other out, they understand that it's coming from a loving place. And it's funny because the Bible tells us that if you are a Christian, if somebody is a proclaiming Christian and they are not living their lives in the way that is pleasing to God, you are supposed to call them out as a fellow person in faith. Now, if they're an unbeliever, you don't have to do that. But if that person is a proclaiming Christian and you know it, and they're living their life in a way that is not according to the ways of God, it's okay to call them out. Whether they like it or not, it's okay to call them out. It's okay because if you're doing it from a loving place. Some people, they just be trying to shame people. They just be trying to, what's the word? I don't know, demean people, whatever. They try to use your faith against you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's simply just coming from a place of concern. Like, okay, I see you living this way. Let's just say someone who's like drinking heavily, right? Alcoholic, who's drinking like an insane amount of alcohol on a daily basis, and you see that they're literally going down the slippery slope, and you're like, man, my brother in faith or my sister in faith, the route that you're going is not a good one, you know. And in those instances, it's okay to want to help your brother or sister in faith to get them to realize, like, this direction you're going, it's not a good one. But many times people don't want to take criticism. People don't want to hear the truth. If there's one thing that human beings hate, they hate hearing the truth. They don't like it. They hate hearing the truth. They run away from it. That is one thing that I've noticed about this life and just people in general. People hate the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. If you're speaking truth, forget it. They're gonna be running away. Um, my favorite my favorite saying that I love to say, and I say it in a joking manner, okay? I don't be serious about it. I ain't coming at nobody, but I find it to be a little funny, but there's a lot of truth in it too. And it goes, wisdom has been chasing you your whole life, but you always been faster. Let me tell you, that could not be truer though for some folks, okay? It's funny, but it's true. Some people, like, you be trying to put some wisdom into them. You be like, the wisdom is there. And even if people are not pouring it into them, is there, they can literally go and search it up for themselves. There's this thing called self-taught, okay? People are literally running away from wisdom, and then they wonder why they're out here looking, ignorant and looking uneducated, because that's what you are. Hand over my face, because sometimes, y'all, I just don't know. And y'all know what I said earlier. Some things are just meant to not understand. So I'm going to say I don't know, and I'm going to leave it at that. I just don't know. It is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. People are going to be who they are. I just know in my family, we believe in God. In my family, we go to church not just on special occasions that we believe is important to our faith. No, we go to church. Okay, we go to church. We read our Bible. We pray. We pray. Not because something bad happened. Not because we need something from God, using him. Like, how you have some friends who be using you. Like, I feel like that's how people use God. People only go to God when they need something from him. Other than that, they don't call on to God. They don't talk to him. They have no relationship with him. It's only when they need him, when things are going bad in their life, now they need God. So, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So a lot of people are users. And just imagine, you know, um, how that would feel if you were God. Obviously, we're not. But I like to look at it on the terms of, imagine having a friend who only comes to you when they need something. They literally only use you for their own gain. But anything else, they never come to you, right? They only come to you when they need you for something. You got family members who are like that too. They only come to you when they need something. Man, and I could speak on this topic, but I ain't going to. Um, there are family members who only come to you when they need something. Friends who only come to you when they need something. Um, but just on the regular day-to-day basis, just to, check in on you, How are you? Like, how are you? How are you? How are you doing? How's life? Nothing has to be going on. Nothing has to be going on. Just a pure conversation. And that's what I told you guys earlier. That's why you have to watch out for people who are only there when you're going through bad times. Because where are they when you're going through good times? You got to watch out for those type of people. I'm telling you, those are the main people to really watch out for. Obviously, people are there for you doing your good and your bad times. Man, they riding for you. They love you. You got love. But if you got people who are only there for you doing one or the other, something's wrong. If you only got people who are coming around when everything is all happy and life is great and they're coming around, but then when you're going through stuff, they're nowhere to be found. You got to look out for those people too. So look out for the people who only come around for one or the other, but they don't show up for both. Be wary of those people. Man, y'all don't get it. I would be scared. I would be scared, and I will watch out for those kind of people because um, they don't have your best intentions at heart. Sorry to say, they don't have your best intentions at heart. But I feel like some things are common sense, but in this society, some things are just what is common sense just doesn't come common for people. If that makes sense, you know, it's like just pay attention to your surroundings. Not everybody's rooting for you. Please don't think that somebody cares about you because they came around when you were going through a rough time in your life. They really care. Whenever something happens, they're there. Honey, because that person, they miserable. They love that you're going through issues. That's why you see they come around every time when things are going bad for you. But then when you're happy and life is going great, they're nowhere to be found because they're not really happy for you. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's just the truth of the matter. Good and kind people are there through every season of your life. People who are rooting for you, who are there for you, who truly love you and is genuine. They're there for you all seasons of your life, y'all. Find your people, please. Just because you're also related to someone doesn't mean that they're your people. Please find your people. Friends could be your people. You know, being blood related to someone don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Please find your people. And not everybody is your people. That's one thing I've learned in life. Not everyone's your people, family or not. And some of us, we're still learning this lesson. Some of us, we're still learning this lesson. We are still learning. Not everyone's for you, family or not. Because, yeah. Well, that is it. I've been on here for a hot minute, y'all. I'm going to get off. This kid literally has been in here sleeping the entire time. Did you know that we were home?
Hmm?
Did you know that we were home?
Uh, no.
No. Well, we've been home. All right. We're going to go now. I've been on here for a hot minute. All right, y'all.